she summed it up pretty nicely when she said that we should not care less. We should care better. Sometimes being silent means you care. If you feel that you're ready to face the person, then your outrage is in the right place. Hi guys, this is Paul Loves to Read, and this channel is all about promoting the love and joy of literature, and we hope that our little channel will help you find the right book for you. And today, I am, again, excited to share with you this book that I read. I read it in ebook, in Kindle. It's called Outraged, Why Everyone is Shouting and No One is Talking by Ashley Dotty Charles. By the title itself, it's very specific to outrage in the internet and in the social media. And it's very specific to trying to understand why there is so much outrage and hate and complaints in the social media world, in the internet, and what does it mean, really? So it's a very interesting topic, and again, a very current topic. I mean, anybody who is in social media right now can read this and you will get it. You will understand. Anybody who's been sucked into the vortex of fake news and bad news and internet news, you can read this and I think it will help you. It's a nonfiction book. Ashley Dotty Charles, the author, is a journalist, writer for a few internet outlets then. And she had her fair share of internet outrage herself. And she will talk about that in the book. I think she's British. I think she's based out of London in a British reporter. Yeah. I think I had my fair share of outrage in my younger years in social media. You know, you tend to be emotional and you tend to want to put everything out there. That in itself is not wrong. Don't mistake me. It's okay to share what you feel and to share your opinion about someone, right? Absolutely fine. But what she's saying here is that you should go beyond that. Real outrage should only be for things and for subject matter that you feel really passionate about and something that you could actually do and transfer into the real world. What does she mean when she says outrage? What does the title of the book mean? Outraged, right? So what she's talking about is the emotion of outrage itself, and how it's now being used cheaply in the internet, in the social media. I wasn't able to look up the exact dictionary definition of outrage, the word itself, but let me give you an example of how she wrote it in the book, right? So outrage back then, pre-internet and pre-social media days, outrage used to be in the streets. It used to be activists on the street. It used to be in real person. It used to gather people together and unite, and it used to make real changes in the real world, you know. But now outrage is in character limitations, Twitter. Outrage is now in the comforts of one's home and in the safety of your anonymity. And really, it just happens online. And it's very noisy. Everybody has an opinion. Everybody has a platform because everybody is his or her own celebrity in her own social media space. And therefore, you could spew your outrage as in when you please, but you could also ignore it as in when you please. So that's the difference of outrage then and now, and that is the definition of outrage in the book. I think we've all been there wherein there's a latest news that comes out and then everybody has an opinion about something and then you feel pressured, you feel compelled to actually give your take on something. You feel like you have to express your opinion somehow because everybody else is doing it. But in all honesty, you just heard about this topic, 2 days ago? Something like that. So medyo shallow siya, diba? It's a bit superficial. It's a bit shallow. So what she's saying here is we should go beyond that. one of the quotable quotes that I like here is that she summed it up pretty nicely when she said that we should not care less, we should care better. So I thought that was powerful. Another one is that your outrage is only real when you are ready to do that in real life. So for example, you yourself is a detractor, diba? Somebody you don't agree with somebody online and you feel the need to make it known to the person and to everybody else in the internet. That's fine. That's absolutely fine. But only if you can do that in the real world as well. If you feel that you're ready to face the person and talk to the person in person and tell the person your opinion and your emotion in person, then your outrage is in the right place. Your outrage is a currency. It is used and abused by trolls, by the media, by the politicians, by whoever out there for their own selfish goals. So when it's a currency, it is important, diba? Think of it as money, diba? So your outrage is important. So you have to reserve it. You have to not give your outrage to every single thing because it's precious. You have to pick a few and find out what are you really passionate about and what do you really stand for, and stick to it and care for it better, and make changes around that better so that your outrage is put into good use. Kasi that's another thing. Outrage as an emotion, it's exhausting. I'm sure we've all been there. Di ba nakakapagod magalit? It's hard. It's exhausting to sustain such massive emotion. All the information that we get, all the information that we read is coming from the internet. And more often than not, that is very one-sided. It's good to step back and hear and read from different sources. Kasi nga, your outrage may be misplaced because, all of these outlets that put out news out there, they have their own selfish goals. So don't fall into that trap. I have to say, this is probably one of the few books that has a clear call to action right after you read the book. This is something that when you read it, you will learn something and you can immediately apply what you learned. And that's hindi naman rare, but not too common in a lot of books, right? And I think it's primarily because the topic itself is very now. The topic is very current. The topic is very relevant to your everyday life. Because we now live in a day and age wherein everything is in the internet and you are dependent on the internet. You cannot function without the internet, diba? With your work, with your daily activities and so on, just with connecting with people. So you're very dependent on that. And her book centers around social media and internet and how do we connect with each other. So that's why I feel like after reading this, you could immediately apply what you learned. I hope it wouldn't sound so presumptuous, but I feel like everybody can read this now. It's a very current book. It's a very relevant book now, in our day and age now. If you're in social media, again, I will repeat it. If you're in social media, if you've been sucked into the vortex of news, if you felt bad about something, over the news, if you have, been angry about something that you've read in the news and you've reacted emotionally and so on, this is something that I feel like would be helpful for you. Why? Because it would help you understand why you react the way you do over the things you read and see in the social media. It would help you understand why do they do that? What's the point of it? And also, it would help you kind of figure out for yourself, how to deal with that, how to deal with your reactions, how to deal with your emotions, and where can you rightfully place it. So, yun na nga, it's one of those books that, for me, I feel like it has a clear call to action right after you read it. So I thought that was really cool. I don't know if you've seen the other episode, Cultish. This is another book that was recommended by Katrina Rason, the one I follow when it comes to her book list.
Sino?
Katrina Rason. So I love the books that she reads. So this is another one that she recommended. I think she recommended this months ago pa nga eh. And that's why I decided to read it. And anyway, the topic itself is catchy, and I think it's very relevant now more than ever. So I'm glad I read it. So I hope that convinced you somehow. It's a very easy read, by the way. Just like Cultish, the other book that I recommended. I actually feel like these two, Cultish and Outrage, go kind of in pairs. You could pair it. You could read it one after the other, and it's easy read. It's wicked fun. It's very insightful, very relevant to how we are right now, our society, our internet presence, our digital presence right now. So I would recommend it to practically everyone. Yeah. Thank you.